You're listening to Where You Live with Gene Sullivan.
This is Where You Live. I am Gene Sullivan. I'm broadcasting from the True North Painting Studios. This show is brought to you by American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency, and Extreme Exteriors. You can count on Extreme Exteriors for expert installation of exterior siding, roofing, soffits, fascia decks, windows, and more. With their knowledge and experience, they can design the perfect solution to make your home beautiful and energy efficient, saving you maintenance and money for years to come. Give them a call at 763-441-1334 and tell them Gene sent you. It's time now to hear from the Community Associations Institute. The CAI Minute is brought to you by New Concepts Rental Management. Whether you're an accidental landlord or a seasoned investor, New Concepts Rental Management can advise and guide you through every aspect of the business. Give us a call at 952-922-2500.
Are you a member of the Community Associations Institute? For nearly 40 years, CAI has provided education and resources to volunteer homeowners who govern community associations and the professionals who support them. Visit caionline.org to learn more. The address again is caionline.org. CAI helps community associations board members by providing online resources, in-person training, and hard copy publications written by association management experts. CAI offers community managers professional development, networking opportunities, and a certification program that is established as the industry standard nationwide. Minnesota has its own chapter of the Community Associations Institute to bring resources and tools from community associations around the country right to your home. Visit www.cai-mn.com to learn more and become a member of CAI today. Your community and management company will benefit from your involvement. Join the Community Associations Institute today at cai-mn.com and click on membership.
If you're just joining me this morning, I'm giving a read to an email that I received in the past week or so from someone who is a person who subscribes to our bi-monthly newsletter. She took umbrage with my last article that I wrote talking about a reasonable accommodation, not for everyone. In that story and in that article, I talked about how one gentleman had to have a kidney transplant, was very allergic. The doctor said, hey, look, you need to be in a setting where there's no pet dander, there's no hair at all, because you're so allergic, it's not going to be good for you and your health to be around pets or animals. So he specifically chose to live in a condominium association where the governing document said no pets. And he thought that he could count on that. However, what happened was an individual who owned the unit felt that they had a need for a companion animal for their mental health. And in the article, I am not in any way do I take at question whether or not this person who had the companion animal and say, oh, they were just lying. They're just doing this in order to get an end around and have a pet. But I did ask a question, and that was, when you have competing rights like that in a homeowners association, what do you do? Whose rights trumps whose in this situation? This person who wrote this email to me said, furthermore, Mr. Sullivan, your poor attitude towards those who have pets deemed companion animals is completely presumptive. And they go on with, calling me names and and other things, and I can tell that they were greatly offended by what I said, and that's unfortunate. I asked, why can't we seem to have a civil discussion or discourse about things we disagree with instead of trying to trump and saying, I'm offended? Because as soon as you say I'm offended, that somehow is supposed to trump whatever the other person is saying, and gives greater credence to that person in their position. I think there's another way of going about this, and that's what I'd like to share with you, my listeners. What happens in a homeowners association when you have competing interests like this? is it not the responsible thing? Is it not the adult thing to do here is to be able to take time to read your governing documents and try to understand whether or not, based on what it says there, whether or not you want to live in this community or not? Can't we put that onus and that responsibility on a person before they purchase a home? In this particular case, I mentioned there's a gentleman who was highly allergic and couldn't be around pets. He did his due diligence. He did take time to read the governing documents and say, you know what? Here it says no pets. This other one I was looking at said they do allow pets. Well, this is where I want to be. And he wanted to be able to take at face value what it was that was written there, because that was a contract. And he was saying, you know what? I'm going to believe in this contract. And my statement is, can't we put the onus on the person who might want to have an animal and put it on their shoulders, as opposed to this gentleman? From this person who read the newsletter, she said that she thinks that the responsibility is on this guy. That it says she wrote this, if the gentleman with the kidney transplant needed to be in a fur dander-free area, he could have chosen to seek out housing elsewhere. So she's saying, you know what? Well, let's put the responsibility on him, not on the other individual. And here's what I think ought to take place in an association when there's a disagreement. First of all, I think that you need to know and understand that those governing documents do mean something. It's a contractual agreement when you move into a home that's in a homeowners association, whether that be a townhome, a condominium, or a co-op. And in there, there's an expectation that everybody's had the opportunity to read those governing documents, to understand what it says, and that they're saying that by my purchasing of a home here, I am agreeing to living by those rules, by living by those things that are written in the governing documents. Now, if a person wishes to have something changed, could we not expect that person to go before the board? So let's say a person says, you know what, I think I need a pet as a companion animal. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to go before the board and share that with them, instead of just asserting and say, I've got a right, I can do it no matter what I want. In this case, trumps anybody else, so I just get a pet. How about that person going to the board and saying, I need a pet. I would like to have this pet, and I know that there is a no pet policy here at the association. What happens in a city when a person wants to build or do something where there is a different zoning ordinance for a piece of property or a piece of land that's next to someone else? Don't they go to the city and they say, you know what, I want to seek a variance? Couldn't we ask a person who wants a pet to say, you know what, I want to go before the board and ask for a variance? And then what does the city do when they seek to give people variances in a city? They'll turn to the people that are affected, that are around that area, and say, what do you think? And how about in this particular case, someone says, I want a pet. I think I may need them as a companion animal. The board says, well, let's put that out. And now you get a chance to hear from someone like this gentleman who says, I'm deathly ill of pets, and it will be my own demise. I'm going to have great health concerns if a pet is allowed to come into this building. And it would allow the association to try and work something out. For the example of, in this particular example, let's say there are two elevators, and the person says, you know what, the person who wants a companion animal wants to, understands that they use one elevator and the other elevator remains pet-free. That allows the gentleman to go in and out and not be bothered by dander or pet fur or hair of any kind. There is a chance to allow for a compromise, but there isn't a chance for a compromise if the person says, "Well, I have a right to have a companion animal no matter what, and I don't care about anybody else's rights. I don't care about anything else with anybody, with any other individual or how difficult they might be with it. That's on them. I have a greater right." How about the individual who has had some very bad experiences with pets and with dogs? I know some people who are very skittish about being near any kind of dog or pet at all because they had some great trauma as a child. Don't they have some rights in the matter? So what I'm saying is I think more could be done if we, instead of just name calling and saying, "I've got a greater right here," if we just said, I think we can work towards compromise. That's what I was saying in that newsletter. And if you have another thought, folks, I'd love to hear from you as well. You can, of course, give me a call or write me an email. All of that information is on our website at www.newconceptsgroup.com. Pull down the menu that talks about education and resources. It talks about the radio show, and you can give me your thoughts on this matter too. We need to take a break. Let's do that right now, but don't go away. So much more of Where You Live after these messages.